You know what time it is. Yes. I don't know if this is the weekly or daily check-in, but I'll figure that out as the pod comes along. Well, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. If it's your first time here, my name is Amanda. Nice to meet you. If you are returning, you already know me, so you already know what time it is. Today we're going to be talking about nervous systems and how they're dysregulated. And I'm going to talk about mine specifically because I can't speak about anybody else. I only know and am getting to know myself. So I'm traumatized. I'm going to tell you that straight up. I am traumatized. And I learned that I'm traumatized because when you simply pay attention to yourself, when you're in stressful situations, when you are perceiving a threat, your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system work in tandem, or one happens after the other. So I'm traumatized and I have an anxious attachment style. And this is due to the fact that, oh, where are we going? Are we going all the way back to the beginning? Because we can go there. I know exactly where it stemmed from. See, I know exactly what's going on, and I know why. The whole root of the thing is, I'm just scared. I'm scared to come to the calling that I know I have to do. There's no getting away from it. No matter how much I've drank, no matter how much I've smoked, there is a bigger purpose for me that I'm avoiding. And I'm always knocked back on my behind because I'm doing the same thing expecting a different result. And it's not working. So I said, you know what? The greatest gift you can give people is to leave them to themselves. That is the greatest gift you can give people. Leave people to themselves. And we'll see what they do with it. Triggers for me? Nighttime, right? Because this is where I got a lot of my validation back in the day. At night. So now I have to retrain my brain. Okay, well, we're not going to do that. You're going to have routines for yourself at night to avoid doing the self-destructive behavior and seeking the validation externally, which doesn't even work anyway and is fake. You know? So now setting routines for myself before bed is a non-negotiable to prevent me from going out and doing things that I truthfully really don't want to do. Right? I told myself, oh, I don't have friends. Well, the reality is, friends look like something different depending on who you're talking to. Are there people that I can go grab a bite to eat with? No. A lot of the ways that I used to do things before were just straight toxic. Like, none of the relationships that I had were healthy. I couldn't understand having a person there to just support you that didn't want to sleep with you. And that's crazy to say, but let's go down memory lane. Where did this start? Well, the 5th grade. Let's start there, 10 years old, right? There was this boy, his name was Stephen Cosme. I've never forgotten this. I was 10 years old. I'm 31 years old today. You know, you're 10, you're young. You know, you might be the ugly duckling, or you might be the one that maybe is not that covertly attractive or whatever. And he basically said he liked me. He had a crush on me. I was so excited. I was elated. I was like, right? Come to find out, it was a whole joke in front of the entire lunchroom. So I had to carry that embarrassment as a 10-year-old child. I don't know what you do with that, but that is where the insecurities started to come in at, around that age. And then now let's fast forward to middle school, right? 7th grade, 8th grade. You're trying to get validation. You're wearing skimpier clothing because, oh, me not good enough on the outside, right? Let me then try to go and use my sexuality. That doesn't work either, because you're sending the wrong message and you're just setting yourself up to get used. And it's so crazy how, like, you would think that this is common sense, but when you are traumatized and when your nervous system is triggered, you don't see that, because your nervous system is designed to keep you safe, not happy. So even if it's something toxic, your nervous system recognizes it, and it's kind of like normal after a while. But in reality, it's not normal. And your nervous system is your body's command center. That's where messaging comes through. So I even notice in myself, like, if I'm even slightly bothered, I'll start to sweat a little bit, like my body temp will go up, and that is a response to external factors. All is mental, literally. Like, the more I just sit and look at life and sit by myself, all is mental. You're in your own way. There's nothing that anybody else can do for you. What you've gone through, what's done is done. You may not get closure, but I can tell you, as a person who was really causing their own pain, you're in your own way. You may not get that closure that you're looking for. You may not get that answer. You may never know. We don't know why, how, who, what, when, but all we know is that we have a dysregulated nervous system, and we need to figure out how to regulate that. Because with anxious attachment styles like I have, it's very much like, yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, and nobody wants to see this coming at them. Your natural response is to do that. Nobody wants this, right? So I had to get a life. And I wasn't always this way. I used to be very, like, you know, it comes in waves. This is why you really have to be careful. I used to upkeep myself. I used to be so self-focused and do all these things, and then I fell off and became codependent because I didn't have a purpose, I felt. And my purpose now is to get to the best version of me. My purpose now is to show up for myself in ways that I never thought was possible, because I couldn't perceive it, because I was too busy worried about everybody else. And guess what? Nobody is worried about me, for real. Outside of family, of course. Your family is always going to be number one. They're always going to have your back. But outside of that, finding somebody that's really down for you is hard. So I have to be really down for myself. Like, if I call you, you gonna come? That's what I'm talking about. I call you, you gonna answer? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, you don't always want to bombard the people in your life with your issues either, but you should talk about them. You know, definitely talk about it. So back to this nervous system, right? I took notes, so I'm looking off over there. We're not fully off script yet. I'm just a baby podcast. But so the sympathetic part of your nervous system, fight or flight response, prepares your body for action when you perceive danger or stress, which is what I was saying earlier before. Like, when you perceive a threat or when you're under stress, your body will respond. This is why it's so important to practice breathing. and not outsourcing and not running to the bottle, running to the weed, running to gamble, running to have sex, because guess what? All of that's temporary, and after that high comes down that you're feeling, your problem's still going to be there. So the parasympathetic rest and digest response. It helps you recover, heal, and relax, slowing your heart rate, deepening your breathing, and supporting digestion and immune function. So rest and digest. If your nervous system is tripped, you're only using your sympathetic. You haven't gotten to para because you can't rest. Recover, heal, and relax. A lot of people don't know how to relax. I certainly don't know how to relax. I mean, what is relaxing? To relax, I've smoked weed. You know, I just kind of look around like, what do I do? To relax, like take a bath, you know, that's relaxing. I'll do that. I got my incense on. Are they burning? Oh yeah, they're burning very slowly, but I got my incense on. So yeah, those were the notes that I took today. I mean, there's more triggers. You know, people avoid certain situations because it triggers them. But a place that people love to go to that's not so triggering is work. People love to go to work because it provides relief, for one. You get validation at work. It's a big performance. We're all performing at work. We're not being ourselves at work. I hope you know that, right? You're not being yourself. It's a performance. Life is but a stage. We're always performing. So the question I have for you, when do you stop performing? When do you stop performing? Just ask yourself that. When do I stop performing? Depending on how many hours you work, you might perform for what, 8 to 12 hours a day? There's 24 hours in a day. So you spent half the day performing. Food for thought. Until next time, I will see you kitty cats in the next episode. Again, don't know if we're going to do weekly check-ins or if we're just going to do daily. We'll gauge it depending on how I feel. We're going through this journey together, and we got this. Till next time,